So, Anthony, the reason I wanted to talk to you about being brave is that here's my idea. You're a therapist, right?
Yeah.
So my thought was that you will have accompanied or witnessed or been with many people on journeys of being brave. It might have been instigated by a particular set of circumstances which might have brought them to you. So in a way, I just wanted to see what your perspective was on this phrase, being brave, and what it might mean.
I think I'm facilitating possibility. I think that's probably what I would describe it as. That's the therapeutic process. It's a facilitation of possibility, or it's a facilitation of the unfamiliar.
Okay.
People come to therapy because they can't move away from what they know, where they are.
Yeah.
So they need possibility. They need unfamiliarity. Out of that, some of those people, the possibility is bravery, is courage.
Okay.
If that comes to light in therapy, then I will accompany them along the journey.
Along the journey.
Yeah.
So what stops us from being brave? So when you're working with people and they're beginning to imagine a possibility.
Yeah.
So that might be just a new version of myself, or a new, out of a marriage or in a new job or whatever their situation is. What is it that stops us as human beings being brave?
Picking up on that phrase, what you said is just a new version of myself. That's huge. A new version of yourself. That's scary, because in order to get a new version of yourself, you have to let go of the familiar, that old version.
Yeah.
And as human beings, we like familiarity, we like security. We like to say to somebody, this is who I am, rather than, I don't know who I am. That's anxiety provoking, that's threatening, that leads to despair. But in a way, in order to be brave, you have to lose yourself before finding yourself again. And it's the losing of the self from a therapeutic perspective, from the way that I work, that's what stops you. It's a sense of, if I'm not who I was, I'm not sure yet what I am.
Yeah.
And that's going to involve bravery and courage, which I'm not usually kind of associated with, or I don't see myself as a brave or courageous person. I'm going to let go of the familiar into the possibility of me not being able to reach that courage or that bravery to get to where I want to be.
So I'm nervous, or I'm scared of failing. I'm scared of not recognizing who I am.
It's almost like when we look back at ourselves, memory is an interpretive kind of process. So we look back and we kind of go, that's the sort of person I was. I'm quite meek. So there's that meek kind of experience I had there, and then there's that one there, and there's that one there, and there's that one there. So I'm a meek person. We tend not to see the kind of courageous stuff that we've done in between, because it doesn't fit into the idea of who we are.
So the narrative of who we are is constructed.
Yeah.
And therefore we don't see ourselves as someone other than that person.
Absolutely. And that's where we lose the possibilities.
So what do you, as you accompany people on their journey, what do you raise as the alternative? What is it that you're encouraging? So if I'm nervous of losing my narrative of my story of myself, but I know I want to be brave, I know I want to step out and I want to speak up for this, or I want to put myself forward, or I want to speak out on something.
Yeah.
But that's a new version of me. What do you encourage in me to do?
Obviously, it depends on the situation. But
course,
I mean, one of the kind of questions I might ask is exactly that. What is it that you feel you're missing out on, to kind of make real kind of what that person feels is very much in the future.
Yeah.
To help them kind of bring it closer to them. So that gap, that leap of faith that they need to take, that big step of courage, perhaps is made a little bit less by kind of realizing the positivity of what that might that experience might give them.
So you help them see the possibilities.
Yeah. In order to actualize them, to actually kind of, what would it be like to do that?
Yeah.
What would you get from doing that? And at the same time, holding the paradox of, what would be the fears? What would be the dangers? Let's not pretend it's going to be easy. Let's walk through it. Let's see. Let's walk through what you might be feeling. Let's walk through when you step into that conversation with that person because you really need to have it. What is it going to be like? What are you going to let go of? What armor that you've created for yourself is gonna be kind of dissolved.
And what do you give me if I don't have my armor, my familiar armor?
Yeah.
What do you encourage me to have instead, or to be instead?
An openness. To stand firm in the openness of a possibility that is going to be beneficial happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
So unless I really see that possibility, I'm unlikely to risk taking my armor off.
Yeah. It's got to have to be worth it, and you're going to have to feel that it's worth it. A conceptual leap of faith it's like, yeah, well, I could, but it's like, is it, I want it, but is it really going to kind of give me something that is going to benefit me, or is I'm going to enjoy? So it's got to feel, it's got to be a reality towards it.
So help me imagine more this idea of possibility, what might be. If I'm to leave my armor behind, how do you help people see possibility?
There's a phrase in psychology. It's kind of the opposite of déjà vu. It's a sense of it's called jamais vu. It's a sense of almost like never seen before. It's that wonder, that openness, as opposed to seen before. Yeah. So it's almost like seeing yourself anew and seeing the other new at the same time. So it's a sense of that radical openness. Again, we can feel courage it's bloody difficult. We're talking about radical openness to something new. It's like, oh, hold on, that's gonna be difficult.
Yeah.
But it's that kind of wonder, that sense of a kind of a reinterpretation of myself.
Yeah.
It's a letting go of what was. It's a losing of self in order to re-find a self that works better or more courageously, or gives somebody more opportunity, more possibility. That's the whole point about kind of the as I said at the beginning, the practice of therapy that I offer. It's a sense of, it's about possibility. So it's about loosening that sense of self in order for new things to happen, in order for courageous acts to happen.
So I feel much more comfortable with a loosening of my sense
exactly
of self than losing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
On the many journeys that you've seen, are you surprised by how capable people are when they find the courage, when they find the bravery?
It is remarkable. It's remarkable. It's one of the reasons why I do my job, because it is remarkable how brave some people can be. Through not wanting to blow my own trumpet, but through the therapeutic process, for them to get to a place of taking these huge, very considered, but huge risks.
What do people find themselves capable of that they didn't think they were capable of?
Definitely freedom. It's like free to choose differently, free to choose their life differently. Definitely empowerment, if that's a word that they would use. I don't want to impose that, but yeah, a sense of feeling more authentic, in a sense of, not in a sense of I'm just going to be who I want to be, but authentic in the sense of I'm owning what I feel, and I'm owning the responsibility of what I feel in relation to others, and I'm a generally more kind of reflected, honest, sensitive, person within my relationships, and who can stand up for themselves, but also because they have a strong sense of self now, a strong sense of them, a stronger sense of their newer self, they're actually open to the selves of others. This also reminds me, Karl, of one of the philosophers, one of the existential philosophers that is taught when students learn existential philosophy is Nietzsche. Nietzsche was very much about courage and bravery. His famous line is which I've forgotten now. His famous line is that which doesn't kill us make us stronger.
Yeah.
So it's a sense
Nietzsche.
That's Nietzsche. Yeah. So it's a sense of kind of what he wanted. He's not a philosopher and he didn't write about philosophy, but he's not a therapist and he didn't write about therapy. He's a philosopher, but his philosophy is all about almost practicing courage, almost practicing it. Wow. In order to kind of be what he described as the Übermensch, the overman.
Okay.
He used this phrase, amor fati, the love of life. He said, throw it at us. Throw anything. Let's love life. Let it bring whatever it is, because we need to be ready for whatever it throws at us.
Wow.
Which is he's very provocative. He uses more exclamation marks than any other philosopher. It's all very provocative, but he's a lot about that kind of courage and bravery and getting ready for what the world throws at us and loving it.
Wow. When it comes to being brave, if you're super clear on what your goal is and there's almost no choice, but you have to act in a certain way, that's one thing. That's not really how life works, though, is it? That often you have to be brave when you don't know what the outcome's going to be yet.
Quite.
Where there is uncertainty.
Yeah.
So how do you help people to be in that space, to be brave in the context of uncertainty?
You're touching on that phrase, leap of faith, which again isn't from an existential philosopher, Kierkegaard. He talks about the leap of faith. He talks about this idea of making those decisions and making those not necessarily big actions, any actions, but with faith rather than with definiteness.
Wow.
It might not lead to what you want it to lead to. But what Kierkegaard talked about in terms of the human being and in human existence is, if we stop choosing, we stop existing. So it's like this is what we're on the earth for. It's like we have to keep choosing. We have to keep choosing life, because if we stop choosing, we're kind of dead in life.
Yeah.
And it's risky to choose because nothing's guaranteed.
No.
So in order to answer your question, it's almost a sense of kind of, perhaps it's with my clients, perhaps it's about helping them come to terms with, that relationship might not work, but what might you lose not giving it a go? It's that sense of, a sense of kind of, is it worth, will you get more from it worth trying? Is you going to get more from trying? And often people kind of get to that place of, there's no guarantees, but I'm going to have a go.
Yeah.
On the way here, I was thinking about kind of, that sense of letting go of yourself, and in order to be courageous. I was just comparing it to, the ancient Greek, the Delphic maxim, on Apollo's temple, know thyself. Yeah. It's almost like paradoxically the opposite. To be brave, you have to kind of unknow yourself. So that's the only thing I was thinking of.
Yeah.
You've got to let go of yourself. This is again Nietzsche, and it's like you've got to get over yourself. The Übermensch, the overman. You've got to get over yourself in order to open up those new possibilities of
for
courage,
yourself,
for yourself
and others.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you very much.